Okay, here I have the turntable to go with this Sansui system. It's a DA-P550A automatic direct drive turntable, and it actually has to plug into the system because it's run off some sort of AC or DC voltage on a little power connector that's got no power supply of its own. Let's see if we can get rid of this cover out of the way. Oh, there goes the hinge. And I believe there's something wrong with this thing, but I haven't actually tried it yet. It seems to turn. Maybe there isn't anything wrong with it. I'll find a bit of vinyl and try it out. A little slow to get up to speed. And now it's not returning, so that's odd. It turned off before it got back. So that's an interesting one. Oops. Oh, we're in the down position now, we're not. That's interesting, it's not starting up. Let's try to push that back there. So maybe I need to keep winding it until it stops. Probably it hasn't got the switch in the right spot. But yeah, very slow to get going. Yeah, so interesting, it does have issues. Don't know if this has got a way to adjust the weight, possibly it does. Yeah, interesting, it shut down halfway through. Now it's being slow to get going as well. Yeah, again it hasn't got back to the stop position. Look, I think it did say belt drive, didn't it? Oh, direct drive. Oh, it's a direct drive, so it's not even a belt drive. Does this platter come off? Should do, I guess. And something's coming, I think. Whoop. Oops. So that's the drive there. No, I guess we're going to have to pull it apart. Lovely bit of chipboard or masonite there. Yeah, all the plastic's all bendy and the wood's all bendy, so fairly cheapo looking turntable, but it probably works alright once it's going. But they certainly didn't put any effort into making the cabinetry for it. Oh, does every one of these clips hold it on? My god. Bit of a weird design. And even with all of those, it's still all gone all bendy and horrible. One more there. Very fancy. There we do have a big direct drive motor here. Just your standard switch as well. So I'm not sure if something's up with this motor. A lot of dust in these pots. And what does this say what voltage it runs off? DC 15 volt, 2.5 watts. So I guess one thing we should probably check that it's actually getting the right voltage out of this main unit. The obvious place to start. Come on, Fluke. About 16 volts. Whether there's a mechanical issue with this motor, it doesn't feel too bad when I spin it, but it may well be seized up a bit. Yeah, it's not exactly free. Don't know whether that's just got a bit of resistance to my moving it, or a bit of inertia sort of thing, or what it is, but let's unplug it would be a good idea. Might as well have a look and see what this motor's like. Probably no different to any other direct drive motor, or pretty much like a VCR capture motor or something. Quite a earth wire there. I need to undo that. It does have a very large magnet on it. Yeah, does this come apart anymore? Ooh, oh yeah, it's just held in place by the magnet. That is a rather large magnet. That's all it's got on the, no actual coils. There must be coils. Oh yeah, they're underneath. I'm gonna say that's just a sensor pickup. You'd have to have something there to run it, so there's copper wire down in there. I don't see any point in taking that all apart in my. There's the coil connections, 4 coils. And this circuitry no doubt switches at that little chip and stuff that switch it in some sort of sequence. Grease seems alright. I mean, I could probably do with a bit more grease, but it's not, hasn't gone sticky or anything. Oh yeah, it has actually on the bottom there, I think might be the problem. Possibly we do have a bit of dried grease. Here, get that bottom bit off. It's not coming up 100% shiny, which is not a good sign. That maybe there's a little bit of wear on that actual shaft. Seems to be some little pin type thing it sits on, which is where that dried up grease was around. A little hole in the bottom there. I guess all that allows the air to get in when you want to try and lift it out, otherwise you'd never get that off in a hurry. There'd be plenty of suction there. So let's put a bit of grease on that. I'm not sure it's going to make it run that much better, but it definitely wants to be doing. A bit on the bottom and a bit on these faces. I think that middle bit's lower diameter, so it shouldn't be touching on anything anyway, so I'm not sure why that's got a different non-shiny surface on it, but give that, whoops, getting it on the magnet, give it a liberal coating of grease on this, I think. Get it off that magnet. Still has quite a bit of resistance, but yeah, no, now it's starting to get a bit. Oh yeah, now it's starting to come a bit freer. So that must have had a bit of issue there. It's not the freest spinning thing I've ever touched, but yeah, it's starting to. God, it's actually surprisingly getting better and better. I think that's about it though. But at least that free spins a bit now. It wasn't really doing that before. So I think that's pretty much the servicing of that. We probably should check a few of these cap values. A couple of them are next to resistors, so it's possible they could be getting out by now. 2.2 is probably good for that one. I think they're the same values. What are they? 22s or 2.2s? 22 microfarad, low voltage. Yeah, they're up around the 3.6 to 2.1. What are they? 16 volt. So actually better than what this thing's saying. There's 2 more of them there. 2.1, 2.2, all good. Probably should check these other couple of little electrodes. One there. Measuring 15 is a fairly high, but it may be a low value, and 3.9, I think that was the other one. Yep. It's a 0.22, so yeah, that 15 is fine for that. Solder joints look alright. But that may be all it needed. Soon find out, I guess. Well, I guess one thing I should check is the grease on some of this other stuff too. I reckon we're probably due for maybe, it's not too bad, but maybe a little bit more on those two bits on the slide plate. Could probably do with a bit of grease down in that gear, in the slot in that, which would run this, yeah, there'd be a pin just there on this slide plate that follows that groove. And the other pin is just in the centre, that'd hold it on there. So it certainly doesn't hurt to leave those sort of things up. That could be part of the problem why it's having trouble returning the arm. The arm itself may even be getting a bit stiff. But we can probably, yeah, move the arm easy enough on its own, I think. Even with all this in place. It doesn't seem to be sitting in there, it goes. Yeah, it doesn't always fit the best, but I've got it now. That screwdriver is not as magnetic as it should be. Should have used the magnet off the motor to re-energise that one. Oh, I didn't put the earth wire on that other screw. Too busy trying to make sure this motor goes in right. And actually goes on its post like it should. To notice that. Put that little eyelet back under there. Plug that back into it. Now, unclip the arm. Sounds a bit odd. Oh, I've got a ball bearing in there. Is that meant to be? Yeah, it's a ball bearing sitting on this bit here. I think that is meant to run in that little. It looks like it's going to fall out, but that's perfectly free, that arm, so we'll put that back in this little clip. So there's no chance of breaking the stylus. And I think I'll just put a little bit of grease on there, just renew those two bits. I think the cam gear was alright. Just put a little bit there. Since that one's lost most of it, and this other one they've just sort of put a patch at one end and it's still on the one end, hasn't spread around like it probably should, but there's not much in the way of friction there, so. But while I'm in here, might as well give that a quick lube. Yeah, dead spider, cobwebs. Definitely wants a bit of a dust out. Oop. Yeah, it's a little bit freer than it was. That's massively free, but good enough, I think. It's probably just the magnetism and stuff pulling it, slowing it back down again, because there is a bit of a metal plate there, so that would be adding a bit of inertia to things. Yeah, we do need to get a bit of the hair and stuff off this stylus, I think. Can I remove that easily? It actually pulls off. Just pull it forward. It's got a great big lump of hair on it. And a bit of other dust and stuff there. Just got rid of the worst of it. I don't know if I can gently brush that and just remove a bit of the muck on there. Bit hard to know beyond that whether it's any good or not, or how worn it is. Oh yeah, there's still a bit of dust on there when you look through the magnifying glass. There's a lot of filth on there actually. Almost looks like it's had something spilled on it, and I must say the needle looks pretty dirty and horrible as well. I don't know if I can clean that, but I can try. There's yeah, some sort of brown muck coming off it. Looks a bit like it's had a drink on it or something, but doesn't really matter on the plastic housing bit too much, but if there's any muck on the needle it's not so good. Try and just gently clean that off. Could be why it was skipping a bit and going over the same track. If it doesn't get a good purchase on the groove, still looks a bit mucky to me. I'm not sure if it should have a bit of stuff around there or not. Don't want to break the damn thing, but might be worth seeing if we can still get one and replace the thing, but I don't know how much he listens to records. I think he did say he has quite a few, so it might be a good time to upgrade the stylus if we can get one. It certainly never hurts to buy a spare one anyway, have a spare one sitting around. Let's go back further over here where it was playing up. Record's warped a bit probably, but still, at least it's returning fully now. I'm not sure if this has got an adjustable, turn the power off a second, adjustable weight on it. It's got something on the back of the arm, but is it adjustable? Oops. Don't think so. Not quite sure what they've got there. How does that clip up somehow? Slide off or something? Looks like, oh, here we go, something's happening. Ah, okay. So the counterweight comes off. Not sure it's adjustable though, but that's definitely the counterweight. It's got a little rubber mount there, I think, so it looks like you can take a little clip off and possibly replace it. I mean, that may be pulling back too much. I don't know if you can adjust the actual position it sits much, or not really. I think it just clips in. You can technically pull it back a bit further, I guess, but we actually want it further forward, I guess, so it doesn't pull as much. I guess the other thing would be to drill it a bit and remove a bit of metal from it is always an option. the record, I mean these are not exactly mint condition or anything. Well, that seems to be working alright. So I think that can go back together. Turn off the power. Yeah, that's going to fall off for sure. That probably fall off, so best to get rid of them before we put this back together. Those cables coming out, must know it's just a whole gap around that area. By the look of it. And we've got to get all these clips back on. That's about it. A bit of a clean up, that won't be too bad. I think it's working again electrically at least, and mechanically.